Quink, Mabuna. 7A? Jiffa.
Glaive, Narza.
Squasher? Pepso.
Don't Aga.
Tway.
Ayuya. Baldriga. Jiva.
Miku.
Oh.
Yang ni.
That.
Stupid. Oh. Oh. Ah. Whistle wigs. Ah. Love up.
So.
Tibu Umbik? Mindel Nopsy? Niba Yod. Heck yeah. Ah, lava. Ugh.
Shimmer. Rage of being swung. Oh.
Nibahana Ufrin. Flows it. Excellent.
Vula shaka.
Bibba. Dar.
Bottom grab.
New.
Oh, Maru.
Yep. Oh. Yeah. Banave.
Welcome to r/pro revenge, where OP destroys his toxic boss's life, career, and marriage. Our next Reddit post is from Deleted. To preface this, I'm a really short and skinny 20-something who could easily pass for a 12-year-old. This is relevant, I promise. A while back when this happened, I was at Target with my younger sister waiting for a nail appointment. Normal sister bonding stuff. I think it was about 30 minutes in when we found some ugly jackets in the menswear section and started trying them on for fun. Next thing I know, 3 girls in volleyball uniforms surround us. The first thing I notice is 2 of the 3 girls were filming us while one girl's asking rapid-fire questions while holding a jacket up. I was so surprised and sort of speechless. My sister was also sort of stunned and silent the whole time. One of the girls said, "Hey, do you think this looks good on me?" She holds a jacket up. I said, "Sure, I guess." "Really?" "Yeah." "Okay, buy it for me." "Are you serious?" "You said you thought it looked good, so buy it for me." "No." We sort of went back and forth with me saying no and her insisting that I buy her the jacket. Her friends filming also pitched in saying that I should buy her the jacket and saying if I don't buy her the jacket, then I lied about it looking good on her. At the same time, I'm slowly walking out of the menswear section and pulling my sister with me, trying to get away. I could see my little sister was super uncomfortable, and I know she's kind of shy, so this is really mortifying for her. That made me angry. It also occurred to me that they must think I'm some sort of preteen like them, because I can't fathom these types of kids bothering anyone with a single hair of puberty. Honestly, they were all annoying, pudgy little 10-year-olds. Meanwhile, I'm wearing my crooked glasses, messy jeans, and a YMCA summer camp shirt. My little sister is also wearing her middle school track shirt, so both of us look like kids like them. In the most grown voice that I could muster, I say, "What the F are you little turds doing? I'm 20 years old. Do you think this is funny? What the F is wrong with you kids? Where are your parents?" In my best, "I need to speak to your manager" voice, I tell my sister, "Go find an employee." My sister takes off running. This is where the girls stop laughing and start telling me to chill out and it's just a prank, which only makes me angrier. I go in on them about how stupid they're being and how harassing strangers is decidedly not funny. I throw in some choice swear words and I can hear my crazy voice getting higher and angrier. I pull my phone out and start recording them and laughing maniacally, saying, "Think this is funny? Ha ha ha!" I think this is where they started getting worried because they took off. I tried following them, but then my sister came back with an employee. I go on to explain how we were shopping and suddenly harassed by these 3 girls trying to force us to buy them things and filming us. I think I also teared up and the employee radios his manager. I repeated my story and showed them the photos I took of the little turds. Next thing I know, those annoying kids were rounded up and surrounded by a couple of employees and a really annoyed mom. I walk past them and tell them to F off and drag my sister to our nail appointment. But I wasn't done. They were wearing bright yellow volleyball jerseys with their club names. I Google their volleyball club and I find the club and blast any email I can find. I also message their Facebook. But I'm still not done. I go on social media and stalk through their photos. I find the club's Instagram, and after some work, I find their friends who have tagged some of their moms. Through those moms, I find the moms of those 3 kids. I cross-reference Facebook and see the girls' parents with pictures of their families. I confirm the faces of these little turds. I blast their social media with my disappointed and upset grown-up voice. I include pictures. I also find the mom who was chaperoning the kids, and I blast her too. I wait. Within hours, I have a reply from the director of the volleyball club and replies from 2 of the parents. The mom who was chaperoning them, funnily enough, blocked me. I never got an apology from those little turds, but I hope having a stranger hunting them down and contacting people from their lives scared them straight. To top it off, I posted a glowing review of the Target and how they handled the situation. A week later, one of the dads asked me to take it down, so I obliged. He asked very nicely. The lesson here, don't act like a little turd. Our next Reddit post is from Deleted. This all happened 5 or so years ago while I was working for a proprietary trading firm. The company is a multinational and it opened a new office in my city a couple of years before I joined them. For those who don't know, most prop shops, as I understand it, have a very high turnover rate. Just toss everyone in and keep those who stick. The company I worked for recruited every 3 months. I had space for about 120 traders, but the office was never full. Out of the 20 or so people we hired every quarter, only about 5 people managed to make it beyond the 3-month internship period, and of those, only 1, or sometimes none at all, made it past the additional 3 months probation period. The company was operating in my city for about 2 years before I joined, and there were only about 4 people who I could call permanent. Everyone else, about 10 or so people, was either an intern or still on probation. The setup. I and about 25 others were recruited straight out of university. The internship position paid really well for a first job, about twice as much as any other entry-level position in other financial institutions, plus bonuses once we went live. And I was really excited. I first came across my boss, a really decent Indian guy, at an industry day held in our university. That was where they administered the IQ test and I passed. The office, similar to other mid-sized operations, had a pretty flat management structure. Us traders were at the lowest level, the HR and ops manager were above us, and the office manager was, well, the head of the branch. The boss gave time off pretty much whenever you asked for it as long as the day's objectives were met. That was his policy. However, the ops manager was his polar opposite and then some. This lady was a grade A B word, and I mean that sincerely. Let's call her Gabby. The instigating event. I first met Gabby when I went to the offices for my final interview. I was registering at the front desk when she marched from her office demanding some documents from the receptionist. The receptionist wanted to finish up with me first, but she was ordered off to file storage. Our exchange went like this. "You're one of the new ones." "Yeah, I'm really excited." "Don't be. You don't look like you'll make it." "Why?" "You're too soft. But I can put in a good word for you if you give me a little something." "Huh, very funny." "I'm serious. Give me something and I'll make it very easy for you. Otherwise, I'll make sure you don't even get into the interview." "No." "Stupid idiots." She said it right to my face, and she kept her word. She made me sit in a hidden corner of the waiting room where no one else would see me easily. But I could hear the conversation at the desk. The only reason why I got an interview is because apparently I had impressed the boss at our previous meeting, so he came to see why my resume wasn't there. Gabby said that I hadn't sent it in. The receptionist said that she saw it somewhere. Then I walked up to the desk at the same time the receptionist said, "Here it is." It was in the trash. And everyone stared at Gabby. From that moment of humiliation onwards, Gabby had a raging hate boner for me. You see, Gabby was a micromanager, more of a nano manager really. She required us to request access if we had to access a site other than those on her approved list. And for traders who gain info from wherever we can find it, her list was woefully inadequate. She would call meetings at the most inappropriate times, but only when the branch manager wasn't around. And in her lengthy meetings, you could never leave to check on your positions. She had this annoying habit of stealing my lunch, and when I confronted her about it, she essentially told me to go screw myself. Gabby was married with 2 kids, and she was petty. I guess she liked the attention because she would have a stream of guys picking her up at the office for 2-hour lunches and when she left for home some evenings. But not on Thursday. Thursdays were the days when her husband would come pick her up towing their kids along. I think they went to have a family dinner or something. Gabby's first mistake. Our manager left about 2 months after I joined. I think he returned to India to get married or something, but still stayed with the company. I wished him all the best. None of the other permanent trainers had the experience corporate required to take on a management role, so they had to shop around. In the meantime, Gabby became the de facto head of the branch, despite the fact that her knowledge of futures markets was rudimentary at best. Her first mistake was when she delayed my promotion from intern to probation. I'm an excellent trader, and I was easily the top 5 in my group. Of the 26 people working, she promoted 20 people she liked, kept me and another guy in an internship position, and fired 4. At around the same time, another recruitment drive happened and another 20 or so interns were hired. I knew this was because of our beef, and I was actually surprised she held on to it for this long. It was also pretty unusual, since the last thing my former boss did before he left was to promote me from the simulator to a live trading account. But I kept my head down and continued learning, often going back to my former boss and the permanent employees to get advice. Another 3 months go by, and in the next evaluation, I was shocked that I still wasn't brought up to probation, despite the fact that all the new recruits of the second group had been promoted, and I was easily the best and the only one trading live. I knew I was good at this job. The permanent guys all said so. The group I initially joined with was frequently asking me for advice. To their credit, a few of them were good, but most of them were still on simulation, and as a rule, no one advanced to probation while still on simulation. However, you could go live while on internship if you were good, which is what happened to me. So I was a live trader and making good money, but I was still on internship and passed over twice. I couldn't let go of that. I decided to talk to Gabby directly. I approached the senior guys and made my case, though I was careful not to put her in a bad light. They agreed to help me out. About a month later, she finally gave me my promotion and I was on probation. At this time, she was still unsure of her power and was still afraid of the permanent traders. Those guys were like gods. 2 months after my promotion, there was another evaluation and recruitment drive. I was not promoted. The group I started out with was now permanent, despite having only 2 of them trading live. The group I was currently on probation with were all promoted to permanent status. The group behind me on internship was all promoted to probation and another group was hired. I let it go hoping she'd gotten it out of her system. Sadly, she hadn't. Round 2. 3 months go by. I'm trading live and loving it, though I'm still on probation. An evaluation comes up, and again, I'm not promoted. Despite the fact that, contract to contract, I was almost on level with the permanent employees. The group that found me on probation was advanced to permanent status to a man, and none of them were live. The group behind me caught up to me, and a new batch of newbies were hired as interns. I couldn't let this one go either. I approached the original 4 permanent employees who are now my very good buddies and planned to do the same thing as last time. Only this time, it didn't work. Gabby had grown into her sadistic power and flatly refused to even consider my promotion, even after she was presented with evidence that I was worth it. Her argument was along the lines of, "I'm the boss and I can do whatever the hell I want." But I wasn't having that, so I contacted my former boss for help. At the time, he had been promoted to head of operations in Africa. He was actually quite surprised, given my performance, that I was still on probation. Needless to say, the order came down from on high, and Gabby looked like she was giving birth to 6 pineapples simultaneously as she handed me my letter. And I thought that was the end of it. How wrong I was. On the next recruitment, she hired this girl. Let's call her Sue. She was an intelligent person all around, but she didn't have the emotional quotient to handle the market. Trading, as I was taught, requires 2 mental aspects, IQ and EQ. You can't improve your IQ, but you can boost your EQ to deal with the numerous stresses that come with a career. Sue had more than enough of an IQ, but EQ, not so much. No worries, you can work on that. Just to recap, the office now had about 70 employees. Of the He's over